Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful resin shaker. Now, the mold is from Let's Resin. It actually comes as a 2-pack. You get this one and one with a bird on it. I just decided to do the mushroom one first. The first one that I did in light colors. This one I'm going to do in dark colors. So we're going to make a dark one just like that. So I'm going to start by turning the mold inside out and then getting my mica powder and a little paintbrush out. And I'm going to just start painting the colors in where I want them on the mold. Yes, the mica powder does fly around sometimes. It gets in places you don't want it, but I am going to show you how I remove it from the places I didn't want it. But because this is kind of a long process, I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me paint the whole thing. I'll be skipping forward in some areas so that you guys don't get bored just watching me paint all of this. I will have all of these products linked in the description for you. I'm using multiple different colors in multiple different areas. So you don't have to keep to just one tone. You can use whatever colors you want. I'm also using mica powders by Let's Resin in this video. So you can do whatever colors you want, wherever you want. You can see on there, I do have some mistakes. I've got some mess ups, but we are going to clean all that up at the end. Don't try to do it until you are completely done putting all of the colors where you want them. I also have some chameleon flakes by Let's Resin that I'm going to add in there. That's going to give it a little bit of sparkle and shine in different areas, but those are pretty much all of the colors I'm going to use. There aren't a lot of different areas to put color on, but those are the ones I have. Okay, now that I have all of the color where I want it, I'm going to show you how to take all of the excess off. I have just a clean paper towel. I've sprayed it with a little bit of alcohol, and then I'm just going to go around and wipe everything off. Now, because the mica powder is down in those grooves, it typically doesn't wipe off. It will only wipe it off the surfaces that I am wiping. It works really well. Every once in a while, you will have to touch up here or there, but this gets almost all of the excess mica powder off. And because we are making a shaker out of this, we really want to get that extra off of there. So I'm going to make sure that it is all very good and clean before I move on to my next step. Now that it's good and clean and everything looks good, I am going to flip it back the correct way. Now, when you do this, it does cause a little bit more mica powder to fall in there, so make sure you check everything to make sure that mica powder is not in places you don't want it at. And then we're going to move everything out of our way, set that mold aside, and we're going to make that shaker part. You're going to need a plastic bulb, one that fits into your mold. Make sure it fits before you do all this. Take the top off. Now I use a cup to set it in to steady it. I have pre-printed some spooky trees from my Cricut that I'm going to put on the outside of this bulb. That way they're embedded into the resin once you pour it all, and it gives it more of a 3D effect. So I'm basically just using my transfer paper. I'm going to apply these to the outside of that bulb, but I'm going to cut them so that they fit and look correct. So you just take it off, you place it on your bulb wherever you want it, and you can see I didn't want that on there, so I'm going to just take that little piece off and apply these branches all the way around this bulb before I do anything else with it, because that way I am working with a clean, dry surface. Now, also make sure that when you are doing this, because when that bulb goes in, you want the stem of it towards the bottom. So you want all of your design facing the correct way. So you can see I'm holding it like I want it to look in the finished product. That way you don't have images that are upside down once you get it all done. Now I'm just going to go around the whole bulb, put all these on, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, and I'm going to speed up this next part because this also takes time to do, but I did want to talk over this while you're watching me do it so that you can see what I'm doing. The way that I make sure that these are really good and stuck on there, because you don't want lifted edges. So make sure you're smoothing everything down. Now, these were printed off of my Cricut, but I'm pretty sure you could use stickers or anything else that you want to put on the outside of these, or to just leave them plain if you don't want to put stickers at all. So this is the base. Now I'm going to fill it halfway with vegetable glycerin and then the other half with water. That gives the inside sparkle some good movement when it's shaken. I like to use a 50-50. Some people use different ratios. It's all about what you like. It really comes down to that. So it's about halfway full with the glycerin, and then I'm going, oh, I guess it wasn't. I'm going to put a little bit more in there, sorry. And then I'm going to add some water to it. And then I also have some glitter, and this is some black holographic glitter that I'm going to put in the center. I use Renfio glitters for this. They are kind of chunky, but not so chunky that they don't float around. They are kind of like a medium chunk, I guess, because if you use very fine glitter, it doesn't shake up like it should. And if you use really chunky, it also just sinks and it doesn't give it that really fun snow globe effect. And this was something I had to play around with until I found the glitter that worked the best for me. Maybe you have a different one that works better. That's great. Let me know in the comments if you do, because I always love trying new products too. But for me, for this video, I'm using my Renfio. But I do like to hear what other people use for these too, because I get really good ideas. So I just gave it a really good shake. Make sure everything is settled in there. I'm going to top it off with a little bit more water before I add my resin onto the top of this. Now this is just a little piece of plastic. It's the hard plastic. I cut a tiny piece of that. I take my UV resin. This is Resin Rockers UV resin. I love this UV resin. And I'm going to put just a circle of it on that plastic there, stick that on there, and then I'm going to hit it with my UV light for about 2 to 3 minutes. Now, if your UV resin drips down the side of your bulb, don't worry about it at this point. You're not going to see it. So even if you have those drips with the UV resin, it's not a big deal. Okay, so now I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to run my UV resin all the way around that bottom part again, and I'm going to put it under my light, or put it over my light, for another 2 to 3 minutes and get that good and solid. Once that is done, you can see that we have a nice bulb and it's ready to go in. Now that plastic can just be taken right off, because at this point you don't need it anymore. The UV resin is just going to stick to your bulb. And then I usually take a little bit and top off where I took that piece of plastic off at, just to make sure that everything is really good and sealed, because you don't want any leaks. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to seal it real good. I'm going to put my UV light over the top of it once again and let that set for like 5 minutes and make sure it's all good and hard. And now we are ready to assemble everything. I have the finished bulb. I'm going to put that in there, make sure that it's a good fit before I start pouring any resin. But what I usually do is I pour a little bit of resin down in there. Oh, I found something in there I didn't like. I have my Unicorn art resin already mixed up and ready to go. I'm going to put a little bit of that in, Then I'm going to put the bulb in, make sure that I've got it in exactly like I want it. And then I'm going to pour the rest of the mold in. And the nice thing about Let's Resin molds is they typically do tell you how much resin you need for that mold on it, but I have that bulb in the middle, so I don't need as much. I believe I used about 8 ounces at this point. So I'm just filling it up to that ridge because I want to put a different color for that very bottom layer. And to do that, I'm testing my resin here. You can see that when I did that, it was stringy. So it's just solid enough that I can pour this next layer, which is going to be all black on the bottom. And that way it firms together without mixing together. You want it just firm enough. You can wait until the next day. I just was trying to get this video done, so I did it all in one day. And here we go. I'm going to get this out of the mold so we can see what it looks like. And there it is. So this one has the black with the black branches, which the black branches didn't come through as well as I wanted it to on this, but I still really like the effect. And here they are. The dark one did come out a little bit darker than I thought it was going to, but I do still really like it. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them below. I will answer every question that comes through, and I do love suggestions on how I could do things differently. All of the product links will be in the description, so if you want to grab some up and try it yourself, that's where they'll be. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great day.